Did you know that you can get an outside sound that works on a C7 Hendrix chord using any diminished scale? Right? Okay, so let's see how that works. And first of all, what are the modes of diminished and how many of these scales are there? So, there are two modes to the diminished scale. There's the half whole and the whole half. And there's the third one, which is sort of a hidden mode, which doesn't have the root. It's not really a mode because it doesn't relate to the chord directly, but I'll explain. The first one is half whole diminished. If you're playing on a Hendrix chord, it really spells out that chord. In the scale, you have a root, flat 2, sharp 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, natural 6, flat 7. So the chord tones are all there for a 7 chord. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And as tensions, you have flat 2 and sharp 2. You have sharp 4, and then you have natural 6 on that chord. If you use that to solo, it sounds like this. Diminished. Now, why does that work? It's a little bit out, but it's very bluesy sounding. And it has that flat 3 in it that kind of sounds like it fits because of the sharp 9 on the dominant chord. But let's see what's going on here intervallically. You've got root 2, flat 3, which is sharp 9, right? On that dominant chord really works. You got 4, flat 5, flat 6, double flat 7, and major 7. So it gives you this angry kind of bluesy sound on that dominant chord. Let's see how that works on that same track. Now, since the diminished scale is a completely symmetric scale, meaning C diminished, half whole diminished, or whole half diminished, contains the same note as whatever is happening in minor thirds, meaning C equals F equals G flat equals A. It's the same exact set of notes. And there are only 12 keys, and each one of these covers 4. It means there has to be 3 of them. Now, we covered 8 of those 12 with half whole and whole half, but we're missing 4. And here's the thing, where are those missing 4 and how do we use them? Well, I have this C Hendrix chord, but now let's say I want to pretend that I have a G7, its own 5 chord leading to it, right? So I have like now instead of playing G7, so now instead of playing C Hendrix, I'm pretending that I'm gonna go G7 to that Hendrix chord. And that half whole diminished that works on the G7. So that half whole diminished scale starting on G gives me the missing 4 diminished scales that do not contain the note C. So here's an example of using that half whole diminished on the pretend 5 chord. So I'm going to pretend there's a G7 there and then use it as a tool to play out for a second and come back to my C. So what does that tell you? The diminished world is really your oyster in a funk, one chord vamp kind of situation. The half whole diminished gives you your most inside sound. Your whole half diminished gives you kind of an angry, angular, bluesy sound that's a little bit out and nice. And then you have that third, more outside sound for a pretend 5 chord. It's like playing half whole diminished on a 5 chord, which is just like playing half whole diminished on the flat 2. So you can just really imagine half whole diminished starting on the 1, and then whole half diminished, which is kind of like half whole diminished starting on the 7. And then you have half whole diminished starting on the flat 2. And that's really all your options, because the moment you move that farther, it becomes an inversion of one of those 3. But you can also play solos where you're merging all 3, meaning any diminished shape you know is going to work as long as you kind of resolve back to a C-type sound. So let's take a diminished shape, this one. And here you have this one. And here you have this one. I'm just moving it in half steps. Each one of those is going to work. So to conclude, everything works and nothing matters. This is the philosophy of playing out. It's total musical nihilism. Subscribe to this channel, like this, ring the bell, leave a comment, join our Patreon. There's a ton of content coming. Please subscribe. See you soon.